lethal contingencies. Alan here. Anyways, so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be shooting my Beeman BP50, 50 caliber, and we're going to be doing some further testing on this. I just took it apart and did some maintenance on the bolt and everything. Reinstalled the factory spring in here. I had been testing out, experimenting if you would, with some other size springs to see if I could gain anything. And at the end of the day, I tried three different springs. I tried a 40 millimeter long, a 45, and a 50, which is actually the stock length, but in a thicker spring. The stock spring is 1.2 millimeters in thickness, whereas the ones that I was testing was 1.5 millimeter in thickness. The 50 millimeter was a total bust. I have a video on it if you want to look it up. Should be under the Beeman BP50 playlist on the channel. That just popped and farted, auto-fired. It was a mess. The 45 millimeter long, thicker spring, it did function fine. I don't know that I really had any gains though, but it did operate. It was a little thicker spring. So for some people shooting HPA out of the back that are looking for a stiffer spring, that 45 millimeter long by 1.5 millimeter wire thickness might be an option, something for you to test with, you know, if possibly. Also, the 40 millimeter functioned as well, but I noticed definitely a decline in power compared to the stock spring. So actually, it didn't really give me any benefits. You know, I wasn't looking for more power. I was just kind of looking to see if any consistency gains could be made with that 40 millimeter. But as it turned out, I've actually lost quite a bit, feet per second, using that spring. I didn't even bother doing a video on it. It wasn't worth it. But take my word for it, the 40 ain't gonna work. So really the only spring that's got a little bit of hope would be the 45 millimeter long spring. However, I wasn't able to find it. Really, it needed to be somewhere around 15.3 for a outside outside diameter, and the closest I could find was 16. So the spring did work, but it was really tight going into the spring stop, to the point where when you went to pull that spring out to remove it, the spring stop came with it. So I had to take apart the gun, and yeah, I had to take apart the gun so that I could get the spring stop back in there afterwards. So may not be, unless you're really familiar with these markers and taking them apart and stuff, I would advise against it anyways. So long story short, here I am. Now I want to retest after reinstalling my factory spring and just doing some maintenance, general maintenance to the bolt and valve. You know, mostly just lubricating it back up, greasing it up with some silicone grease. I also put on a new grip on here. Thank you, Sean, for sending this my way a couple months ago. I'm finally using it, so thank you, brother. Appreciate it. I took off the Hogue grip that I had. I was kind of getting bored with that, and I didn't like how it bubbled up over here. But this one, nice. You know, it fits nice and snug. Went on like a glove. So yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and shoot that. Oh, while I had it apart, I also, you know, kind of straightened out my barrel spinning when I take this on and off. The extension, the tuning barrel extension, I was able to get in there with a little bit of JB Weld putty product and just secure that inner barrel from rotating. So now it seems to be good. Everything's good. And yeah, so we're going to shoot a magazine of 7 of the 4-gram less lethal ballistics Vindicator rounds is what they're called. I'm going to shoot a magazine of those. We'll put up some feet per second, and we'll add some joules to it and see what we get for power out of this with the extension. And if we still have gas left, what we probably will, I might shoot some of these smaller 12.2 or 12.3 millimeter steel ball bearings. They weigh in at about 7.11 grams each. And we'll finish up with these and just use up the rest of the gas just for fun. So, all right. But we are going to, I already have it loaded, and I'm going to unload it because I do like to air up my markers or gas up my markers, unless it's in a home defense situation. I do like, whoop, bouncing out of there. I do like to do that. I prefer to do that unloaded just in case anything funny happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, indeed, there's 7 of the 4-gram Vindicator rounds, like kind of a green color. There's like a little ball bearing in there. It's ABS coated. They're really good ammunition. And 4 grams seems to be a really nice sweet spot for the BP50. You know, even the stock ones shoot really well with 4 gram. They shoot great with the alien play as well, but that's like 2.7 gram. So if you're looking for something a little heavier than alien play aluminum, you may want to check out the 4 gram ammo that Less Lethal Ballistics has. Again, it's called the Vindicator. Also, another great option is Air Tactical's 4 gram. It actually comes in a little lighter than 4 gram, just a little under, but again, it's a really good ammunition. So, and I think they're both, price point wise, I think they're both about around the same price. So, of course, you can't beat the price of alien play. All right, so I went and loaded it again. So I'm just going to break my own rules here since I don't know what I'm doing apparently. All right, so let's gas her up, and we'll shoot the 4 gram first. All right, that was a really nice puncture. Really good puncture there. I don't know if you could hear that through the Bluetooth, but it sounded good. All right, we'll turn the laser on, and let's shoot 7 of these 4 grammers. I'll just be calling out the feet per second. All right, we got shot 1. 394.9 feet per second. Shot 2, 375.6 feet per second. That one came flying back at me. Shot number 3, 373.5 feet per second. Shot number 4, 363.5 feet per second. Shot number 5, 360 feet per second. And we have shot number 6, 351.2 feet per second as it bounced off my leg. And the last one, shot number 7, 348 feet per second on the dot. All right, so that was the 4 gram Less Lethal Ballistics Vindicator rounds, okay? Good ammunition. Yeah, so we should have some gas left in here. So let's go ahead and give these steel ball bearings, these 12.2. I believe that when I measured them, they're about 12.2 millimeters. And it's 7.11 grams or 7.1 grams. 7 grams, you might as well just call it 7 grams, right? So a couple grams heavier than what we just shot. But steel ball bearings, they ain't gonna break. So it's kind of nice, and that extra weight will carry them a little further for distance, if you care about that kind of thing. All right, so let's see what we can do. Again, we don't have a fresh cartridge in here, so we're not really looking for max numbers on these ball bearings. I'm just want to shoot something to use up the rest of the CO2. Okay, so here we go. All right, steel ball bearings, 7 gram I'm going to call it. 7 gram steel ball bearings. This will be mag 2, shot 1. 237 feet per second, shot 2. 230.3 feet per second, shot 3. 224.5 feet per second, that bounced off the cranny. And this is what, shot number 4. 221.1 feet per second, shot number 5. 215.6 feet per second. They're still hitting pretty hard. Shot number 6. 210.2 feet per second. And this should be the last one, shot number 7. 204 feet per second. Looks like we still have gas. It probably could go a little further, but once you get to about 200 feet per second, in my experience with this gun, usually they're going to start diminishing in power big time. So So I am satisfied with that, at least after I tore it all apart and fixed the barrel and everything I did to the thing last night. I just wanted to make sure the thing was going to be reliable before I, put it up as a home defense option here. So, yeah, let me just check the puncture really quick. It's always good to check that as well, but I would say pretty good outcome. So let's see. Yeah, there's not much left in there. Not much, not worth it. Yep. All right, let's take a look-see at the puncture. And what we got here? Actually, kind of a small puncture. If I'm not mistaken, I think I swapped this one out with my Pistelli X68 at one point because I was having smaller punctures. It was getting worn. So that's probably the one I have on here. So yeah, it's kind of a small puncture, but it performed fine. I mean, it was did the job. No complaints there. Anyways, that is today's test of the Beeman BP50 with the Home Defense Pistol, Home Defense Pistols tuning barrel with tuning barrel extension. Okay, thanks for watching, and there'll be more to come. Stay tuned. Peace out.